Appreciate everyone taking time to do this morning. If I'm assuming everyone can see my screen okay. If you can't, let me know. But I'm going to assume that's coming through. I've got just a couple, let's call them PowerPoint slides, even though I didn't create them in PowerPoint, that I'm going to walk through and give you a little structure as to what's going on here. As I'm presenting here, just a FYI for everyone, I can't always see if people are, waving their hands. If you guys are on camera, if you have any questions, just feel free to chime in. I am happy to stop and answer any and everything as we're going through this. This is not scripted to the point where I'm reading from a script, so hopefully you won't throw me off too bad if you have some questions. But I'm going to run through the training. This particular item I've got on the screen here right now. This is something I will make available to everyone after the meeting is over. Actually, I'll probably have someone at the dealer distribute it as appropriate, but we'll make that available so you have a training record that you guys can refer back to. Just real quick,
And
I thought, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Tanya. This is my
oh,
bad.
I was just going to say, I'm Tanya, and part of my role is to support dealer development is what my title is. And so as part of that, I will monitor the chat and then bring things to your attention. And then also after the fact, I will help support you as you need if you have questions and things. And Alex is always available for that as well. So
Yeah, perfect. I appreciate you doing that, Tanya. And I apologize. I should have introduced myself at the beginning of the call as well. So I'm Alex Aldag with the Activate Company. I'm in charge of our products here at the company. But more importantly for this group, if you guys have any questions, I'll be right alongside Tanya with anything we can do to help or answer for you guys. I've got our contact information at the back end of this thing. We're available at any time should you guys need to reach out to us. What have we done so far in ASIP for you guys? So, customer data, we've received a new set of data from you guys about a month or so ago. So, customer list, assets, et cetera. So we've got customer data pulled in. We actually had a branch location set up a while back, so we merged some of that data together. Equipment data, got a list of assets. All the stuff you guys would recognize, make, model, serial, your internal equipment numbers that you use, and a warranty data file as well for warranty data. I got a list of probably about 300 different users that we wanted to set up access to the system for. So we have done that. And everyone that will be in the system, your username will just be your company email address. The password, I've shared those passwords with Trisha over at the dealer there, and I think we're going to work on how to get that out to everyone. But once you get that password, if you want to reset it, you can do that in the system. It's super easy. If you want to just leave it as the generic password we set up for you, that's perfectly fine as well. But that's something you guys can handle in the system pretty easily. Inspection forms. So there are a bunch of inspection forms that are already in your instance of ASIP. So those forms came from CNH. They're all the standard forms by product. So those will all be there available for you. It looks like in the past year or so, we had built 2 combine forms for you. And I guess where I'm going with that statement is if you need custom forms built, reach out and we can do it. I know Trisha's not on the call today. I think she had a conflict, but I've at least said reach out for now to Trisha and we can coordinate with that. But once she and I have a chance to connect, we might want to change who that point of coordination is. But we're happy to build out extra inspection forms if that's needed, and that's going to make life better for you guys. If you want to inspect some stuff that's maybe outside of what we've got in here currently, we can make that happen.
and also if you have a form that you're using right now, we're happy to add that into the system or create it or whatever. So
exactly
if you
right.
have,
Exactly right.
yep.
Yeah, so happy to do that. And I'm actually going to show you an example. I did one of those last nights just so we can kind of prove that point to you. But I'll show you what that looks like. It's pretty easy. Final thing, and I think this is the last PowerPoint slide I got, and then we're going to jump into the system. We're going to really focus on training at this point, but we've got a bunch of pricing details from you guys. So a parts pricing matrix, basically from $0 to $5, we want a 50% upcharge on that. We've got all those details. We've got labor rates, shop, field, and I think a couple of your store locations had different rates by location, supplies calculation, standard repair times, adjustments, etc. We've received a whole bunch of that information. It's already loaded into the system. As we're going through the demo, I'll kind of point out every now and then how that is impacted and how you see it in the system. But we got all that information from you guys, and we got that loaded up a couple days ago. So finally here, real quick, what are we going to go through today? So kind of goals for the day. I'm going to start showing you how to create an inspection. So if you know you have an upcoming service work on a particular piece of equipment, or you're just scheduling a inspection that you want to get done on a particular asset, how do you do that? I'm going to show you 2 ways to get that done. I'm then going to complete a couple different inspections on my mobile app. I want to go through it a couple times just so you can get a sense as to what's going on, any tips or tricks we can discuss as we're going through that. So that's going to be the core of it, is I want to get you through how do we create an inspection, complete it. And then what I want to shift to, these next 2 here are kind of related, is, well, when things don't pass an inspection, how can you follow up on that in the system? So I'm going to show you that, what it looks like to build out an estimate, access to the parts catalog, and how we do those items. And then we'll get into a little bit of how do you share those results with the customer. There's lots of cool capabilities built into the product so that you can do that there. If you happen to be working with the customer where you're going to do it in more traditional manners, like maybe you have in the past, and it's a phone call or it's an email, we can, of course, handle that as well. But we'll have all that in the system, and I can show you through how to do that. Last things I've got for you, ask questions as we're going along. And as Tanya said, if you throw it in the chat, she'll take a look at that, and she can make sure those questions come through. And then after that, I also want to cover how do you get help. So you can always reach out to Tanya or myself at any time. No problem at all doing that. But then there's also some help capabilities built right into the system, and we can walk you through that as well. So I'm going to start with how to create an inspection. So I'm going to jump into the actual system itself here. So this is the solution. It's Activate Customers. You guys will see your logo up here. We've just got a generic CNH Industrial. But I just want to kind of walk you through this. So I'm in here as a service manager, and the first thing I want to do is I want to set up an inspection. So I'm going to show you how that happens. It's a pretty simple process. Actually, there's several ways to do it, but by far the easiest is just to come up here and create new. You'll see I'm probably going to have more options here in this list than you guys do. And it's just a function of that list is going to change based on the types of inspections and the different actions you can do in the system. But for most part, what you're going to do is create new, and then you're going to pick a service inspection. From here, the first thing it's going to say is, well, do I know the specific serial number for that inspection? And if I do, I can start writing it in. If you know your unit number that you guys use internally, you can start typing that and populate it immediately. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to search by a customer name. So what I've done is I've just clicked that customer name. I created a customer here earlier this week so that we can see it. So you might see as soon as I start typing, it's going to try and match it to anyone in the system. And so this Claremont Designs in Fredericksburg is the one I want to go after. I'm going to select it. And then it's populating right away. So as we're thinking about setting up this service inspection, first question is, well, what machine are we going to inspect? So I'm going to come in here and let's grab this New Holland machine here. You'll see some things that are available to you. You don't have to do anything with some of these, but I just kind of want to make you know that they're available. As soon as we pick up that machine, you have access immediately. You can see past inspections that were completed. In fact, you can see I did one here a little earlier today, and you can click on those at any time and it'll pull up that inspection report for you. But that's not necessary. It's just there if you want it. You'll have a contact. If there is a contact in the system that is associated with this one, certainly recommend you put it in there. It offers up a couple extra capabilities. It's an optional field, though. If you know where the machine is located, you can type it in. Again, optional, not required. I'm going to start putting one in. As you can see, I'm starting to type in an address, and it's going to pre-populate. It's starting to look for things that are appropriate addresses. So I'm going to pull that in. The only thing, though, in the whole process we've done so far that's required is you got to pick which machine you're going to inspect. So pretty straightforward. Next question is going to be who is going to actually inspect that piece of equipment? Who do I want to send this out to? I'm going to send it to. We have service tech written here, and normal for you guys when it's deployed, it'll be an individual's name. So you'd see Alex Aldag, for example, as the person we're going to send it to. But I'm going to send it to this person whose name is service tech. Next question. This is the last kind of super important thing. And from here, it's just one button push is, well, what type of inspection are we going to ask them to perform? I'm going to do for this demo a 20-point quick inspection. But as I mentioned, kind of when we were on that slide looking part of the presentation a minute ago, there's a whole host of forms that are already built in, forms that have come from Case. We've also got forms, a couple that we've custom programmed for you. If you have others that you want us to do, let us know. We can build those forms out. It's a pretty quick process. For the purposes of the demo, I'm just going to pick the 20-point quick inspection. And then from here, it's quite simply hit that create button at the bottom of the screen. That's the whole thing. As soon as that happens, a notification is going to go out to my service tech that's going to complete the inspection. If you decide you want to actually send a notification to the customer to let them know we're about to inspect their machine, you have that option. You might see in the green bar up here at the top, it says send notification to customer. If I want to do that, it's going to essentially pull up my email that I've got. It's going to send it out to that contact I selected. And we've got a pretty generic note saying, hey, Alex, we've scheduled an inspection for, and then we're telling them what are elements within that inspection form that we're going to be performing that inspection on. So again, not necessary, but kind of a nice feature if you want to do that and inform the customer as to what you're about to do. So let's do one more of those just real quick so that you can see the process. So again, create new service inspection. I'm going to search by customer name. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pick the particular customer that I'm interested in. Which machine is it? I'm going to come in and select that particular machine again. I'm going to come in. This is for Alex. I know the location of that asset. I'm going to type in the address. I want a service tech to perform that inspection. I'm going to do the 20-point quick inspection form, and I'm going to hit the create button. And that's the whole process. It's super easy. And at this point, we've already scheduled 2 inspections to go out to our service tech that's going to perform them out in the field. So I'm going to shift here real quick. Let's go out. I'm going to go out to my mobile app and show you what that looks like so you can see what that's going to look like on the mobile side of the world. Give me 1 second here and get that open for you. So let me come in and share my screen. Apologize, let's take just a second to get this fired up here for you. All right, I've got my phone on the screen now. I'm using an iPhone. This works perfectly fine with Android devices as well. We don't need a very high-end device for this to work. It's meant to work on older devices perfectly well. I happen to be showing it to you on an iPhone, or excuse me, on a phone, but it works perfectly well on tablets as well. So if you guys want to do this on a tablet, that's actually a really nice and easy way to get this done. So I've got these 2 particular assets that I want to run through here for you. I'm going to do both of them, and I'm going to perform that inspection real quick. So let me show you a little bit of what that looks like. I'm going to grab, let's grab that bottom unit first. So I'm going to hit that download button on that inspection form. And let me walk you through a little bit of what's popping up on my screen here. So at the very top of the screen, you can see I'm doing that 20-point quick inspection. That's the form I assigned. I can see which asset it's for. I can see that location, and that's the location I plugged into the screen as I was saying where this is located. That happens to be where my office is. And below that, I've even got a map that's pulled up. Below that, I'm going to go to the general tab down there. So if I come into the general section, scroll up here, I can pull up some information about the machine itself. So the first thing I can confirm the serial number. You'll see in the hours field for certain asset types, we can collect multiple hours, meters readings, depending on what's appropriate. I'm going to update that real quick. Let me just explain what you'll see there. For example, on the separator hours, you'll see 1796, and you can see that little looks almost like a Wi-Fi kind of icon on the side. That means we have a last known meter reading on this particular part of the asset. So we're pulling that in, but if you want to update it, you've got a couple options. You can just come in here and type the number in directly. Or what you'll see to the right of that Wi-Fi looking thing, it's kind of a box with 3 lines in it. It's an alternative way to pull this in, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like as an example. So if I hit that box, what's going to do is going to pull up my camera. So I've got a screenshot that I've taken of a meter, and it's going to try and pull those numbers in. Let's hope it does it appropriately for this demo. It's a little tight, and it doesn't look like it's going to get it just yet. It did not get it right. So that's all right. We'll it's if maybe I wasn't pointing it at an iPad and I was actually pointing it at the meter, it might work okay. But the reason I wanted to show you, the nice thing about doing that is you'll see it's actually attached a picture of that meter as you're doing it. So you've got an extra piece of documentation as we're looking at it. And it's a super easy way to make sure that even if I do a typo, I've still got that in the system as a record there. Next thing we've got here, it's the machine media section. We do recommend you take exterior pictures, interior pictures, etc. It's going to make the inspection form richer. It doesn't take a lot of time. And I'm just going to walk through it here real quick. So I'm just going to point it at an iPad here, and I'm going to be pointing at the wrong parts of the machine at the time. I'm going to take a quick photo as we're looking at it. You might see at the bottom right there, it says next section. You don't have to go back out each time you want to do it. It's going to, if I hit next section, it's now going to assume we're looking at the right side of the machine. And it's what we're trying to do here is mimic walking around the particular piece of equipment as we're going through it. I'm way out of sync with what the right photos are supposed to be as we're looking at this. But the idea here is it's supposed to be pretty easy to do that. And what you'll see at the bottom of the screen is we've attached all of those photos here to it pretty easily. You can do photos, you can do videos, you can do as many photos as you want, as many videos as you want. It's all in there and it's all available for you. And it's intended to be super easy to go through that process. So that's just kind of setting up the basics of the inspection. Let's go into the checklist part of it. So a couple things to note here. I'm going to collapse safety equipment for a section. You can see there are different sections to the inspection. If you look, for example, the first one is safety equipment, and it says 0/3. That means there's 3 items within safety equipment that I'm asked to inspect. Engine 0/2, there's 2 items there, etc. You can expand each of those by just clicking on the header. And you can see in this particular one, I'm supposed to look at rollover protection is the first one. If things look good, we've got a simple way to say that things look good currently, and it's swiping from the left to the right of the screen. And that says, hey, that item is passed. We're good there. The one right below it, seatbelt, you'll notice an icon on the far right. If you ever see icons like that, you can just click on it and get some information. So in this particular case, it's letting me know that the last time this machine was inspected, there was an issue with the seatbelt. And we did not take care of it. We, as the dealer, did not fix that particular issue. So the idea here is we're trying to call your attention to it and get an understanding as to, well, maybe this is something we want to spend a little extra time and make sure it looks okay. For the purposes of the demo here, I'm going to say it still looks okay. Backup alarm and horn, that looks okay. So I've been showing you the swipe method. If you prefer to tap, you can just tap right in the middle of that line, and that will also check it. So with that, we've kind of gone through the whole safety equipment section. If I want to go to the next section, it's super easy. I'll just tap on an engine. And again, we're going to keep swiping. Things look good. Things look good. And I'm going to go through this entire form. I'm going to go through this one really quickly. And for this particular form, I'm going to say everything looks good on this particular piece of equipment across the entirety of it. I've got another inspection here in just a second where we're going to have some issues, and I'll show you how that works. Once I'm done going through the form, if I look here, you can see I've got green check boxes all the way down. All of the items have been answered. I look in good shape here. You hit that menu button in the bottom right. When I do that, I'm going to have a complete. Once I hit complete, you can see that arrow. Oh, I might have talked too slowly. There was an arrow in the top right that was firing off that inspection report, and that inspection report has been sent off. If I ever want to take a look at that on my phone, if I go to that results tab at the top right, I've got a record of the last 45 days worth of inspections that I have completed in my device. And I can open that up at any time. I can see a record of it. I've got access to all those images that were taken. You might notice at the bottom of the image, it's date and time stamped for when that took place. So I have access to all of that in here. I've got, in this case, everything passed and it looks good. I can even capture digital signatures at the bottom of the screen if we'd like. So all of that's built right into the system. Super easy to see what's going on. Let me take care of this other inspection, though, that was assigned out to me. So I'm going to download it. Same as before, I set up an address. I'm not going to go through and update all the machine media this time. You kind of saw what that process looked like. I'm going to go over to the detail tab. Same as before, we've got some icons saying some things the last time we did it didn't get resolved. So let's say rollover looks good. Let's say there's an issue with the seatbelt. So this time I'm going to go and I'm going to swipe the other way from the right of the screen to the left, and you can see it says repair. So what it's pulling up is now I can talk about, well, what should I do about this seatbelt? So I'm going to capture some notes here real quick. I'm typing my notes in. We can do voice to text, which is particularly helpful if you don't like typing on a phone, which a lot of us don't. But so seatbelt is fraying is my note. Timing, when should we get this done? We have different options. I believe this is what we've programmed for you guys as well. I'm going to say, hey, this one's important. Let's do it immediately. Now, the first question we're asking is if you know and you can estimate how long you think it would take you to repair it, let's capture that number. And I'm going to show you how that shows up later. But let's say we think that's about half an hour to get that done. So I'm going to do that. Media. So let's take some photos here. So I do have a little seatbelt here on my iPad. I'm going to take a photo of for you. What's kind of nice about the photos, if I click in on that photo afterward, you might see at the bottom it says paint. If I hit that paint icon, I can come in here and say, hey, this is why I don't like it. This is why I think it's unsafe to keep using the seatbelt. I'm going to hit that save button. That's now part of the record of this issue. So as I'm going through this, pretty quickly have gone in here and said, hey, actually, I don't think this is a repair. I think we're going to need to replace it. So I'm going to adjust that at the top of the screen. The seatbelt is fraying. I've captured my note. As I'm looking at it, we should do it immediately. I think it's going to take about half an hour to get that done, and I captured a photo of that. We can do video as well. And again, you can throw in as many of those items as you'd like. So I'm going to go here and say we're done there. The seatbelt had an issue. Backup alarm, let's say that, actually, let's go the other way. Let's say I think that needs to be replaced as well. So we can take a quick note, making no noise. I'm not going to bother with any photos or videos, but let's say it's about a half hour again. Capture that note. Again, now let's say the rest of the items on the inspection form are passing. I'm doing this pretty quickly, but if only inspections went this quick, but we'll get through it. Now that I've finished it off, I'm going to hit complete. Let me talk about one other thing on the screen here. So complete is where most people go. It's the standard thing most people do. If for some reason you get called away and you can't complete it right now, but there's someone else there that can complete that inspection for you, you have an option to transfer that inspection. That's the second option in the menu there. So that's available. If you get out in the field and you're ready to inspect something and you see that someone assigned the wrong form to this and you need to switch it to the appropriate form, you can hit change form. You can also reset your form if you don't like the responses you've done and you want to just start over. You can do that. I'm going to say we're good here and I'm going to complete that one. One last thing I want to do in the mobile app, and then we're going to shift back to the web here, is when I started here, I was telling you I wanted to show you different ways to create an inspection. So I showed you the option to create an inspection from the website, but you can also do that from the mobile app. So if I hit that plus button in the bottom of the screen, again, I'm going to have more options here than you guys will see, but I'm going to do that top one. I want to create a service inspection. So that's what I'm trying to do here. It's now going to say, well, help me find what piece of equipment that you want to do an inspection on. So I can start searching for it at the top of the screen on make, model, serial, unit number, etc. Or I can go, what I was doing before was searching by owner. And you might even see I did a couple of these earlier. It's going to store my recent searches that I performed. And there's that same Claremont Designs again. So I want to look at their stuff. I'm on site there. I've already, inspected the two New Holland machines, but then I've got this little Makita compressor. So let's do that real quick. So the other reason I'm bringing up the Makita compressor is as I pull it up here, and I'm going to go in here. Last night, just to demonstrate building out an inspection form, I built out an air compressor form here for us. Again, I like adding the contact. It's optional, but I like putting the contact in there and then the date we're going to do it. So I'm going to create that inspection. This form, again, the start of it looks pretty similar. In this particular case, it's picking up the location of me filling this out based on where my phone is at the time. But then I can come in here and again, I can take all the media shots if I want. Let's maybe take a picture of the front of this one since it's here. I happen to have this little compressor sitting on my desk. So I'm going to do it in this particular case. Engine hours, let's pretend it had a meter I could look at and 5 was correct. I could take some notes here. I didn't show you taking notes in journal on this, but we can add that if we want here. So, looks brand new as we're looking at it. The detail tab, you can see here, this one's going to look different. It doesn't look like what we had seen before, and that's because I programmed a custom form. I probably spent longer looking for a form than I did actually programming it. It probably took 5 minutes to get this program. So pretty easy process. Again, air filter looks good, the check valve's good, safety's good, air compressor pump, regulator. Let's say there's an issue with the regulator, and let's say it needs to be repaired. And my note here is, not adjusting correctly. So, this is one of the cases I thought we would do this because I could do a video here and show you kind of what that would look like. Let's say I think that's about a half hour to fix it. For media, let's record a video on this particular case since I've got the thing on my phone here. I'm going to click my record button and I'm going to show, turning the regulator. It is actually working on my particular compressor here. But if it hadn't, we'd have that available. So again, there's that the one thing you might have noticed if you had heard that as we were going through it is it's recording audio as well. So when you're doing videos, it's great because you can not only see what's happening, if you need to see how something's moving, if there's a flow issue and you want to take a look at it, but also if you want to be able to hear something and report back and get a record of that, it's pretty nice to have that information available. So I'm going to save that real quick. Tank pressure gauge, again, you can see I've got that little indication that it didn't pass the last time. I'm going to say it's still broken. I'll just say broken. And I think we should do that immediately. That's another half hour. I'm going to capture a photo of it as I'm going through it. Photos are great. We really encourage photos as you go throughout the process. They are really compelling for the customer, and they really help us, really win more opportunities as we're looking at it. I'm going to finish the rest of this inspection form just to have it done, and that's done. So that's doing an inspection. It's pretty simple. Ones that have been assigned to you will show up on your action list, and you just hit complete, or you just hit inspect and you get going on it. You can also start an inspection at any time by hitting that plus button and going up to service inspection at the top of the screen on your mobile device. Let me get back to the website. So let's see what's been happening on the web as we've been doing all of this. I'm going to refresh my screen here. I'm again back as the service manager at this point. You'll see I have a couple new things have popped up on my screen here. I had the New Holland machine where we had an issue, and we're going to follow up on it. I think that was a seatbelt and an alarm. And then I've got my little Makita compressor, which I just completed as well. So what I want to do as the service manager here is I want to follow up. I'm going to hit that big follow-up button. And it's going to bring me into this. And now I'm looking at, okay, well, what's happening? So what's happening here? Let's look at kind of the body of this. I can take a look at, I've got a dialog window here, which I'll explain here in a second. I can look at the inspection report here immediately if I want to take a look at it. You can see what that is. You can see that inspection report has got that same photo embedded in it. I've got access to the notes that were taken and the timing associated with it. In this case, I can see the full inspection report. I can see that I didn't do a digital signature out in the field when I did it. I can email this to the customer. If we want to send this to the customer at this point, we can click this email button. It's going to open up and say, who do you want to send it to? I want to send it to Alex. Send it off. It's going to open up my email provider here, and I can send that to Alex directly. It's going to pre-populate the subject line with the inspection report. I just got to come in here and clean up the note a little bit with what's going on as we're looking at it. Pretty easy to do. I'm just going to hit a little enter after that URL so that it's something they can click on, send it off. That'll go through right away and they'll have access to it. So really, as soon as you're getting these inspections completed, they'll be available to send out. Actually, I might be having an email issue that doesn't look like it has sent. That's it. Oh, there it goes. So as we're looking at it, that's available. I could have unchecked some of these so that it's only showing certain items on it. I could have also downloaded it as a PDF. If I just wanted to send an email, a PDF out to someone. If I'm interested in just the media with it, I can download that. Lots of different options for sharing that information with the customer. Let's see if that's shown up yet on my particular item here. So if I look at it, here it is, this first one. So I'm in looking at it as the customer. If you had sent this to a customer, they're going to have quick, easy access to this. It's going to have all the information they need. They don't have to log in to see it. So it's super easy to share this information with customers. We certainly encourage that. But if you've got time to look at this, you might want to act on it first. So what are the items that didn't pass? I had this seatbelt that I was looking at. I, as the service manager or whoever's in that role, can take a look at the photos that were taken. And I'm looking at it. My guy out in the field said he thought it would take him about a half hour to complete. The standard repair time, and we update the standard repair times all the time to remove and install a seatbelt, is estimated at 0.3 hours, so about 20 minutes. You can see we have adjusted standard repair time. So in this particular case, we're saying, we don't believe the standard repair time, so we want to throw in a cushion of an extra 0.18, so an extra 60% in this particular case. So we would have done those calculations for you guys as well. As I'm looking at it, I'm going to need parts for this, so I can hit the C&H parts and service button. And when I do that, it's going to pull me into the parts catalog. I have done a seatbelt on this unit before, so it's going to assume and get me right into the right place to look at this. And as I can hover over, and you can, of course, see how that's going to interact with the device on the right here. In this particular case, I know it's the seatbelt that I need, and that's really the only thing I need to adjust this or to address this. So I'm going to just hit select one part. As I'm doing that, it has now pulled in the part number, the part description, and the quantity required in order to address this. As I'm thinking about this for the customer, I think we should do parts and labor for them. I'd recommend, as you're in this page, to hit the save button as you're moving along. You don't have to wait till you're done. It doesn't hurt to do it earlier. Let's look at the backup alarm as well. I didn't take any photos or videos, but they said it's making no noise, so we need to adjust that. Again, I can come into the parts catalog and take a look at it. Let's see if it's found anything for me. It does not look like it found it in this case. I can come in here and start to search for it if that's helpful. So I'm going to search for an alarm as I'm looking at this, and let's see if it found anything. Here's that backup alarm right there. So I'm going to go in there. Now it's found me in the backup alarm assembly. So I can come in here and try and find the appropriate part. In fact, it's already selected it for me. And I'm going to select that one part. Again, it's pulling it in here. Again, I think we should do parts and labor. I'm going to hit save. Again, I probably hit save more than necessary, but it makes me feel comfortable to do it. I'm going to hit this quick estimate button. So let's create the estimate for this. So when I'm looking at this, I've got a couple options at the top of the screen. Do I want to use the adjusted standard repair time for each of those items? I could use the mechanic's estimated hours. I could think, do I want to use shop rates or field rates? Maybe we're going to go out there and do it at the customer's location. So I'm going to do the field rate. Am I going to charge them an inspection fee? We can check those on or off. I can look at the individual items here, what's part of that, each of the segments. I've got the parts and the description. And let's say I'm comfortable with everything. I'm going to hit create estimate. So this is creating this estimate for us. And as we're looking at it, and you can look at the details of it. It was done for Claremont Designs. I'm the contact, or Alex Aldag's the contact, location of the company, who performed it, was service tech, what were the hours on the unit when we did it, what was the safety belt needs to replace, quantity, price, etc. And then additional supplies charges, if there's any mileage, and we can edit any of these as we're looking at it. But we're building out that estimate form here real quickly. So I want to show you kind of the nice way to share this and kind of what we see most people doing. After you go through this step, I'm going to hit save and make sure everything's updated. Again, it's been updated, but I hit that button more than I should. What I love here is the summary report. So if you come into a summary report here now, again, your logo would be at the top right, not CNH Industrial. And what we've got here is, here are the things we think you need to address, Mr. Customer. I have the seat belt. We're suggesting parts and labor. We're going to throw in a seat belt as a safety belt as the part we're purchasing. Here's the price. There is labor associated with it. Same thing on the backup alarm and horn. And you might see at the top of the screen all these little check boxes. We can show what we want to show or not show on the screen. So lots of options there. We can send a dialogue to the customer. Are we okay to do this? You should probably do something a little more professional than what I'm typing real quick on a demo here. And again, same as what we did before, I can send this email and it's going to pop up an email link and it'll go straight out to them. I can also just copy this link, and for time's sake, I'm just going to hit copy link this time. I'm going to go back into a different browser and get that set up so you can see what the customer will see. So this is what the customer can see. What's real nice, it's going to be nicely formatted. They've got the same dialog box here. They can hit the full inspection report button and see the inspection that led to them wanting to do this. They can now come in and say, hey, I think I'm good with you doing that. I approve it. I approve both parts and labor, backup alarm as well. I'm good with that, and parts and labor. They can confirm their approvals, and we can capture basically a digital signature as they're going through this. So we're going to capture that real quickly. And as we've done all of that, again, they can write a note back as well. Sounds good. And we'll capture that as part of this. So let me refresh it over here on the dealer side. So I'm back as the dealer again. I'm going to refresh this just so you can see what's happening. You can see the update here in the dialogue. We've got that note back from them. Of course, there's notifications for all of this. And you can also see that these items have been approved. And we've got the digital confirmation on it. It's been confirmed by Alex Aldag. I can see the digital signature I did. Everything looks good. At this point, I'm going to hit save and close. I'm going to save all my work here and I'm going to close it out. We're good to go on this one. This dialog box will not show up for you guys. It's just in our demo it shows up. But at that point, I'm going to save and close it. And I'm back out on the dashboard again. I'm out here. I've resolved issues. I've taken care of it. I do want to do the Makita real quick. I did it for a specific reason beyond that, showing you that we could do custom inspection forms. I also want to show you a slight difference in the follow-up here. So let's follow up on this for this particular item. Again, we can send this out to the customer. If we send the inspection report out to them, what they'll get are the images. So here's that front image that I took. They will also be able to get access to the videos that we took, and really compelling for them. Well, this is why we need to fix it, because you can see it's not working. This is why we need to fix the gauge. You can see the glass is broken. So really easy to share this, real compelling for customers to get that out to them. Again, we can build this out. Now, we don't have Makita compressors built into the parts catalog and standard repair time. But what we did get from our tech that was doing it, saying, I think that's about a half hour of my time to get that fixed. So we can still leverage that. Even though we don't have the parts catalog integration, we can add in what we have here is dealer parts. So I'm going to do it here on this tank pressure gauge as an example. I'm going to hit dealer, and you can basically fill in what you think is the right thing here. And so what I want to show you as I start typing it in here, I've done this one before. Once you've done a add a parts from dealer parts before, it can store that and we'll be able to access it. So as soon as I started typing in GA, it found a parts number that we've stored internally. It automatically pulls in the description and it pulls in the list price that we have for that item. So it's super easy to add it, even from dealer parts as we're looking at it. So in that particular case, that's what we've got here. You can see here that added it, glass for gauge, dealer parts, etc. And then, of course, I can do the same thing on the regulator up here at the top of the screen. I'm probably not going to do that for time purposes. I want to make sure that we reserve some time for questions, etc., as we're going through this. But again, we can come in here and do the estimate just as we did before, which would then create reports that we can share with the customers. Same as before. Again, I've got immediate access to past inspections, etc., as we're looking at it. I wanted to hit on two things last real quick. So if I go back to what I said I wanted to cover with you guys, and then I'm going to pause for questions as we look at this. So creating an inspection, we did that when we first assigned the 2 inspections out to our service tech. We also did it where we created an inspection right from the mobile app for everyone completing an inspection. So again, we started those inspections. We did some walk around photos of what the asset looked like. We captured some notes. We updated meter readings as we were looking at it. We then completed the inspection with the swiping method to swipe and pass or fail items, captured notes on anything that didn't pass inspection, photos and videos, etc. Once that was completed, we popped over on back to the website so that we could follow up on those inspection opportunities. And that was reviewing the inspection, viewing the things that didn't pass, building out an estimate so we could send that estimate to the customer, and then sharing those results with the customer. Again, we can share those results with that summary report is certainly one of the ones that I like because it's got a lot of good information on it. And that's the one where the customer can have access and they can comment back to us, etc., as they're looking at it. Two things that I did not show you yet, though, is how to get help. So, there are a bunch of ways to get help. One is to certainly reach out to Tanya or I directly. We're happy to answer questions, but there are some capabilities built into the system as well. So on the website, you'll see here there's this little question mark icon in the bottom right. If you're ever running into an issue, you can come in here and you can, start by saying what your issue is, and you might say, "Don't know how to create inspection." Whatever it is, you can capture your note as specific as you can get when you send it to us is terrific. Real simple. You can come in here. We can snap a screenshot of what we're looking at real quick. So that's taking a screenshot of what we're looking at on the screen here. Next, it's going to look at the words you wrote and see if we've already documented how to do that. If you don't find something here helpful, you can just skip and send a message. It's going to ask who is it that's sending it out. I'm going to send this from my one that we've been using for the demo here and send a message. And that message is going to get sent out, and that'll go right into our ticketing system, and we'll have access to it with your question, your screenshot, etc. Super easy way for us to get support and get ready to support you guys on this stuff. Let me show you real quickly what that looks like on the mobile device. I forgot to share that with you. So let me pull up my phone again real quick for everyone here, and I'll show you what that's going to look like. Process is pretty similar, but we don't have a floating question mark like we did on the screen there. It's in a little different location on the mobile app. So I'm going to share that for you real quick. But I should be pulling up here in just a second. Perfect. So let me come in here. I'm going to open the inspection form, which you see at the bottom of the screen there. Actions. Real quick, since we're here, equipment. This is a list of all the equipment. If you want to take a look at it, you can search through it, etc. It's going to have the ones you've interacted with recently at the top of the list. But you can come in, and if you want to inspect that case 1021F there, if you hit that little plus button next to it, it's going to have that same menu item for you, but you're already going to pre-select that asset. So it's a super easy way to do that. the search field, if you're here and you're trying to find out, oh, what does Claremont Designs, the customer, have? You can come in here and you can start searching for customers or equipment and pull that up, and you'll get records on that. So who the contact is, what equipment do they have? I can see back at all the past inspections that have been completed. So super easy way to get access to that inside of the search field. But the reason I came here for you was the help center. So if you hit that help center, what it's going to launch here is how can we help you today? There is some search there, but there's also a big contact us button. And if you fill that out, etc., you can contact us directly from the mobile app and get some support. And that comes through a ticketing system as well. So if you ever forget how to get a hold of myself or Tanya, there's plenty of ways embedded right in the system, and those get delivered right to our email as well. So we'll have access to that at any time should you need a way to get a hold of us. I've been talking for about 45 minutes straight. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing my voice at this point, but I'm going to pause for a second. Are there any questions, anything immediate that people want me to dive a little deeper on, or maybe I wasn't clear enough on? I'm happy to answer any questions folks have at this point in time. I'm also happy to take silence as there are no questions.
I was just going to interject that there have not been any questions in the chat. So,
okay, well, thanks, Tanya. Yeah, go
we
ahead.
Have one week. It's Randy and Kent here in Portage La Prairie.
Hi, guys.
Eventually, are we going to be able to pull that estimate into our work orders through CDK?
Okay, so that's one. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one of the ones I didn't know was what dealer management system you guys were using.
I'm sorry, I should have told you that from the get-go. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's fine. So on CDK, we have been working with one dealer to try and get that worked out with CDK. Candidly, it's been going a little slower than we would like, but we are trying to work against that. We also got a communication from Case New Holland, I want to say within the past month, where they are trying to force all the dealer management systems to work a little nicer with us in order to get that kind of integration built out. So it's not available out of the box today, but it is something that we're actively working on, both with another dealer that is using CDK, and we're also working on it with Case New Holland to try and get some corporate policies put in place to force the dealer systems to work with us so that we can share that information more easily.
Okay,
and let me interject. I heard from a couple of other sources this week that integration with all the business management, with all the business systems rather, is being forced worldwide from CNH. So I think that's the way we're going, because you guys have driven that at the dealer level. And so thank you. And yes, the more we drive that, the easier that makes our job to do the integration, because we always want to do those integrations. Right, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other little nugget I'll throw in there, which we heard in the past week or so, is our program is one of the first ones they want to do that with. So not everything's going to be turned on day one once they get that figured out, but they're trying to tackle it with us as one of the first ones. So hopefully it won't be too far. I absolutely know everyone hates double entry. So we more than anyone want to get that fixed. So we've got high hopes that that's going to play out well for us here.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for clearing that up. Is this an Android-based app, or like if we're going to put it on iPads, we just need to know whether it's Android-based or it's...
Terrific question. And I should have been clear on that before, and I wasn't. So let me, when I send this out to you guys, so the website portion we've been looking at here, which is what I've got on the screen right now, this is just the website, and that actually renders really nicely on the just mobile browser inside your phone in case the person in this role ever happens to be away from the desk and they still want to do this. It's still really user friendly inside of the mobile inside of a phone or a tablet. But to your question about the app itself, it is both iPhone and Android. And we'll have this will be part of what we're going to send you afterwards. There's a section called How to Access ASIP. First thing here will be where to log in. So everyone's username and credentials, I think, will be shared pretty shortly. We've already set them up. We just got to work out on how we're going to share it with 300 people in a efficient way. So that'll be where you log in. If you have an Android app, if you want to use the Android app, you'll go just search for Activate Inspections inside the Google Play Store, or I've got a little link here that you can click on, and it'll pull it straight up for you guys. And that works on both phones and tablets. Both work really well.
Let me interject here because this was a confusing point for me. ASIP is the name when I was at the dealer level.
Yep.
ASIP is the name that CNH has given our program with the CNH dealers. So Activate is the Activate company is our company. And so that's where you need to search as you are looking for the app. So just to clarify that little point, because I got stuck on it.
Yeah, it's a great point. So definitely don't search for ASIP. That's not going to deliver much results. All right. If it does, I don't know what it's going to deliver, but yeah, we'll have it in here. It's definitely search for either Activate Inspections, or you can just click on the little links right in this piece here. Other questions, guys? That's not a problem. We can end it there and actually end a little early, which is terrific for me because it's lunchtime and I'm getting hungry. What I have done here for us is I've recorded this, and I'm going to share this kind of online thing that we've been looking at here with the team. And what I'm going to do, if you might, I scrolled right past it. There's this section called ASIP Training Session Recap. I'm going to embed the video of this right in here so that you guys have a reference that you can always refer back to. But beyond that, what we also got back at the bottom is let us know how to help. And Tanya and I are straight in here. And if you hit these buttons, it's going to pull up our email addresses and you guys can email us right away. So between all the little buttons you can click inside the apps and the website, we love it if you do that because it keeps a record, but I know it's super easy just to reach out to us. So we're happy if you just want to reach out to us directly, and we can follow up with anyone as soon as we hear from you. So with that, I guess I really appreciate the time. Please do not hesitate to reach out. We want you guys to be successful in this, and we'll do everything we can to make it work well for you. And if you have anything from the most basic question to something really complicated that you're trying to do, let us know. We're happy to walk you through it. And whether that's emails or phone, whatever works best, we'll get that done. But thank you again for the time today. And we'll all be reaching out soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.